Greetings everybody, I am Rohan Kela from BITS Pilani, India, and I'll be presenting my paper Quantitative Security Risk Analysis Framework for Modeling and Analyzing Advanced Persistent Threats. This is a joint work along with Dr. Kumar and my colleague Siddhant Singh. Before we begin, I'd like to visualize an industry scenario. Typically, in a manufacturing plant, we will find PLC systems. PLC systems are typically used to communicate, monitor, and control automated processes like assembly lines, machine functions, or robotic devices. We also happen to find sensors and actuators that are used to record field data. We also find industrial internet, which is the backbone of communication between PLC systems and the data that sensors and actuators record. Also, we find SCADA systems, which are used to monitor and control field devices. Now, essentially, these are heterogeneous devices with respect to each other. They run their own proprietary software. And in industries, we see that these are highly interconnected and are constantly sharing information. This leads to a very complex setup and creates unknown vulnerabilities. These unknown vulnerabilities can be leveraged by an attacker, and a coordinated attack can cripple any critical service industry, which is further intertwined with other critical industries and can cripple an entire country as for that matter. Furthermore, present day attacks are highly targeted, highly sophisticated in their attack techniques. They utilize zero-day vulnerabilities and malicious insiders to carry out their task. Therefore, it is imperative that industries adopt a framework to help them manage and mitigate damage and manage risks in turn. So essentially, to summarize the motivation behind our framework, these are the key points. Modern day safety critical systems are complex and interconnected system of systems. Industry practices are obsolete that lead to further complexities, and attacks of these magnitude can lead to disruption and damage as well. Now let's look at an example of Stuxnet attack. This helps demonstrate the far-reaching impact of modern-day calculative targeted attacks. As I like to describe it, Stuxnet attack is a wake-up call to all Stuxnet was first discovered in June 2010. The Stuxnet worm is a sophisticated piece of computer malware designed to sabotage industrial processes. The worm has used both known and unknown vulnerabilities to install, infect, and propagate. And it was powerful enough to evade state-of-the-art security defenses. The attackers possess stolen digital certificates and signatures to bypass defenses and checkpoints. Hence, it is alleged to have been carried out by state-sponsored actors. The Stuxnet worm essentially reprograms PLCs in a way that modifies the system operation, leading to damage to physical infrastructure under control. The Stuxnet attack affected mainly Iranian nuclear enrichment facilities, resulting in slowing down the production of centrifugal machines and finally damaging them. So some of the highlights, as you can see, is that Stuxnet is sophisticated and handcrafted against victim organizations. It is again alleged to be state-sponsored, and in terms of its damage, it has supposedly infected over 200,000 computers and degraded over 1,000 machines. And a few non-peer-reviewed literature even states that it has pushed Iran's nuclear ideas by about 4 years. The diagram at the bottom of the slide shows an attack propagation path that Stuxnet might have utilized. For example, since Stuxnet is a multi-stage attack, we can see that the stage 1 involves reconnaissance, where the attackers could have used social engineering techniques and so on and so forth. We will describe the attack vectors in much detail in the next slides. These are the contributions of our paper. We provide a framework to model and analyze complex multi-stage APT attacks. We use statistical model checking to obtain quantitative insights into security. With respect to the quantitative analysis of advanced persistent threats, the input that we use is the cyber kill chain. This is the first ingredient that we require. The cyber kill chain will be discussed in depth in the next slides, but for now, the cyber kill chain is a 7-stage uh, intuitive representation of a multi-stage attack. This is then fed into a statistical model checking tool. But first, the cyber kill chain is converted into a stochastic timed automata. The stochastic timed automata is fed with metrics of interest such as the rate of failure, the breakdown, the attacker cost, and more. On top of this, we perform statistical model checking. And after statistical model checking, we are able to answer the following questions. For example, what is the probability of disruption within T units of time? Or which attack steps are most likely to cause disruption or are most vulnerable, so on and so forth. Now, let me just discuss the cyber kill chain and some of its highlights. So in academia, there exist several domain models to represent an attack scenario. We, however, make use of the cyber kill chain because of its industrial popularity and acceptability, and it provides a very practitioner-friendly model to map the entire life cycle of an attack. Now let me discuss the anatomy of a cyber kill chain. It consists, as I said, it consists of different stages such as reconnaissance, weaponization, so on and so forth. Under reconnaissance, for example, the attacker may have to identify and profile its targets. Under delivery, the attacker might resort to utilizing a phishing mail or a phishing campaign, or inserting an infected USB uh, in the industry. These are the 7 stages that comprise the cyber kill chain. Right, so now I'll be discussing the modus operandi where we map an attack into the cyber kill chain. So this is a snippet from our paper where we have mapped the Stuxnet attack into a cyber kill chain. The process we follow is that for every stage of the cyber kill chain, we look at the possible attack techniques an attacker could resort to. For example, in the stage of reconnaissance, an attacker could resort to, let's say, open source intelligence, or it could resort to social engineering techniques. Under each techniques, we further refine them into attack processes, where each process follows a sequential ordering of different atomic attack steps. So for example, under open source intelligence, an attacker would have to ping sweep the organization, identify ports and services, followed by asset discovery. So a cyber kill chain stage is said to be successful when either of its attack techniques are successful, and for an attack technique to be successful, uh, its attack process must be successful, and for the attack process to be successful, every atomic step must be carried out sequentially. Yeah, it has to be carried out sequentially. Right, so in this slide, I will be discussing how we translate our cyber kill chain into a stochastic timed automata. We adopt 2 formalisms. The first formalism is that a particular attack step may be dictated by Markovian transitions. So for example, if I am in state L0 and if I want to transition to state L1, the transition may be governed by an exponential distribution. And if it does transition into state L1, the stochastic timed automata emits a success signal and transitions to state L2. Likewise, the other formalism that we adopt are the instantaneous transitions, where at a particular state L0, there's a discrete probability of success or failure with respect to the attack process. If there is success, then the stochastic timed automata will emit a success signal. Likewise, if there is a failure, the automata process will emit a fail signal. Along with that, we make use of certain action signatures, the input actions and the output actions. These signals help synchronize the entire network of timed automata in our system. Now I'll be discussing the semantics that we utilize in our analysis. Let me start from the bottom. At the bottom, you can see that the stochastic timed automata template is for different stages. As you can see that there are 7 stages to the cyber kill chain, and we follow sequential process where each stage must be successful in a sequential order for the entire template to be successful. And at any point of time, if there's a disorderly success signal from some other stage, then it goes into a sync state. Then if you can look at the middle template, the stochastic timed automata template, as you can see, is for the attack stage. An attack stage is said to be successful if any of its attack techniques from T1 to Tn is successful. If that's the case, it emits a success signal. Likewise, the stochastic timed automata template for the attack technique follows a similar template to the one of the CKC stages. Here, we require that all attack steps are successful in a sequential order. If there's any disorderly success of any other step, we again force the automata to go into a sync state. Now I'll be discussing the metrics of interest. Uh, we first model the as-is scenario. Under the as-is scenario, we ensure that there is no detection measures, and first we model the probability of disruption when all the attack steps are enabled, and then we disable a few common attack steps to notice the variability in the probability of disruption. Under the what if scenario, we implement detection measures. So we can decorate the attack steps with a detection rate, maybe 20% or 30%. And likewise, we follow the same procedures where we enable all attack steps and then we look at how the probabilities change when a few attack steps are disabled. Followed by, we also follow this up with a sensitivity analysis. Since the data that we're using is arbitrary data, we need to ensure that there could be certain attack steps that may create spikes in our probability, and hence it is fundamental to identify the sensitive attack steps so that we can ensure that the data that we fill in them is moderated so that it doesn't skew our results. These are the following results that we have obtained. Under the as-is scenario, we realize that when all attack steps are enabled, the attack probability is 0.175 in a time span of 1 year. When a few common steps are disabled, the attack probability falls to 0.15 in a time span of 1 year. Under the what if scenario, the probability of attack is 0.15 when all attack steps are enabled. This is also very intuitive since when you establish detection measures, it is assumed that the probability of attack should come down. And likewise, when common attack steps are disabled, there is again a fall in probability in a time span of 1 year. This is the conclusion that we reach. And under the sensitivity analysis, we find the following results. We find that zero-day vulnerability and propagation to PCN are highly sensitive. And if a similar study has to be conducted, then these the values that we fill in these, the lambda values, or in case if these are instantaneous failure steps, the probabilities and the lambda values need to be moderated. These are the future directions to our research work. We plan on extending our model with defenses and cost structures. We plan on using real log data and making sure that our framework is tool supported, is end-to-end tool supported. Thank you.